So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Going to make a quick little Royals video here. I only have about 5 or 10 minutes or so. We are 2 games into spring training, and the Royals have made some interesting moves so far. They've signed a couple minor league free agents to help maybe fill out their roster, give some guys some looks. One guy's name, I think it was like Dykeman. I don't really know too much about him. He looked like he had a pretty decent year a couple years ago. Maybe it was hurt by injuries the last couple years. I'm just going off the top of my head here as I'm driving to meet some buddies here for some dinner. Anyway, the one guy that I really am kind of excited to see is the Drew Storen, something like that. He pitched for the Nationals. He's got over 100 saves in his career. Similar to Brian Boxberger, a guy who has kind of fallen out of favor with some teams, but the Royals, maybe a reclamation project. And this is what the Royals need to be doing. They need to be looking at guys like this, similar to what they did back in 2015 when they found Joe Blanton and Ryan Madson and Franklin Morales. And those guys turned out to be great pitchers for the Royals that year and were instrumental in winning a World Series. I know Blanton was let go, and I don't even know if he was traded. I think he was traded, during the season. But still, he was a very good part of their success in the first half of that season, and definitely played a part in them getting out to such a big lead. So I haven't seen what the final score of today's game was. I know they won yesterday 9-1. Their pitching looked really, really solid yesterday. Again, it's the first game of spring training. Not a lot to take away. But still, some hitters had some good days. Mondesi, was raking the ball all over the yard. Almost had a home run. I know Valorius hit a home run today. He's the guy who they're looking at, kind of the heir apparent to Salvador Perez behind the plate. And if he's not, he's a guy that has some value, who the Royals could turn for a prospect or two. Or maybe even turn into a flip for a pitcher or somebody down the road. Because Sal's going to play for several more years. So, anyway, that's kind of what I'm excited to see. Ryan O'Hearn has looked pretty strong so far in the first couple games. Billy Hamilton has not. Surprise, surprise. I know Chris Owings hit a home run today. We're not going to see a lot of that. Even though he did have one year with the Diamondbacks where he hit 12 home runs. So, for a utility guy who has the potential to hit the ball over the fence, that's something that obviously is fairly valuable, to have a bench player like that who can come in and get a hit if you need to, if maybe surprise someone with a home run. The Royals traditionally have been a team that the guys off their bench have been base stealers. Terrence Gore, Jarrod Dyson in the past. They haven't really had that guy to come off the bench and get a home run. But that's not the kind of game that they've ever played. Now, I'm not saying that Chris Owings is not a guy who is a power hitter off the bench by any stretch. But he's not going to be overmatched at the plate. I still don't think he was the best person to sign. I think the Royals would have been much better going after like Josh Harrison or who's the guy that the Twins just signed? I can't think of his name, but he was a kind of the super utility guy as well. But he commanded a lot. He was like $10 million a year, so I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But Chris Owens, whatever. I mean, it's fine. No one has really come through so far in terms of right field. Kind of the leader. Soler's had a good start to camp so far. Everybody's looked fairly good to start so far. Salvador Perez hasn't played in a game yet, and I don't anticipate Salvi getting a whole heck of a lot of at-bats. He's obviously a proven veteran, and he doesn't need to prove anything out there. Alex Gordon has batted third so far, and Alex Gordon looks like a kind of a different player so far. But again, you're going up against a lot of the other teams, kind of AAA guys, trying to get some extended looks at some of these guys. Glenn Sparkman started the first game for the Royals. he gave up a run, but his command was very sharp and his pitches were sharp. And that's something I'm really curious to see. I like the repertoire of pitches that Sparkman has, and I don't think he's going to make the club out of spring training by any means, but I do think that he can participate in some fashion or another with the Royals this year. Josh Stalmont pitched as well. Zimmer's curveball has looked really good. Kyle Zimmer's curveball. So, Zimmer was signed to a major league contract after he passed through, after he was designated for assignment. So, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Bubba Starling has yet to be heard from. They signed him to a deal. I think Bubba Starling is done, and I think that'll go down as the biggest draft bust in Royals history. And I remember when they signed him, and drafted him and signed him, I was ecstatic. I thought it was a great move by the Royals to get a local guy, and get him away from playing football. But yeah, he has been an absolute disaster. But you can't win on them all. So the Royals went through an extended period of time where all their number one picks, all their first round draft picks, all came through pretty well. Zach Greinke, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas. Even Luke Hochevar, who didn't really pan out as a starter. He had some serviceable years as a starter, and then was a shutdown guy at the bullpen until he retired and got hurt, and then he had ultimately retired. So, now the Royals have had some stinkers in the first round too. Christian Colon, obviously a World Series hero, but he was a failed pick. So I'm going to try to wrap this up here real quick. Not too much more to talk about. But one of the things that I really am going to interested to see is what they do with this back end of this bullpen. Now they've signed some veteran guys to some one-year deals like Soren and Boxberger and Dykeman, I think is his name. This really kind of maybe this signifies that Dayton Moore thinks the team is a lot closer to competing than they are, or than that others think they are. I have said to my buddies, and I'll say it here officially on my YouTube channel here on what is today, February 24th? Yeah, February 24th. I believe the Royals will finish over 500 this year. I really do. People think this is a big stretch. They lost 104 games last year. Oops, get that out of the way. Yeah, but the 104 games lost was with players like Lucas Duda and John Jay and and even Mike Moustakas too, even though Moustakas played well for the Royals before they traded him. The Royals brought up the young guys, and the young guys held their own. And I've said this before, what they did over 2 months, you stretch that out over 6 months, that's a 78 and 84, 79 or 78, 84, 79 and 83. It's about around in there of what that record would have been over 162 games. That is not insignificant. And I just want to see them continue to do that. I want to see Ryan O'Hearn continue to hit baseballs the other way and hit balls over the fence in left field, show his power that direction. I want to see Brett Phillips not strike out so much and learn to put the ball in play a little more. I think he would become an excellent baseball player if he does that. So I'm going to make another one. We're going to kind of break down some of these first couple games and kind of see what everyone's talking about with the Royals. But I'm super excited again. So I'm going to say an official prediction, but I did say I think the Royals will finish over 500. I'm not going to predict them to go to the playoffs or anything. But I do think, as of what I've seen in the offseason and what I saw at the end of last year, as I get the camera back over here, I do think the Kansas City Royals win 83 baseball games in 2019, and I think that they make the playoffs in 2020. I'm not going to say win the division, they in the hunt for the wild card. We'll see what happens. Thanks a lot.